In this video, I'm going to talk about the challenges of managing your emotions, money, singleness, or couple relationship on Valentine's Day. Hi, my name is Mabel. Hence, this channel is called Ask Auntie Mabel because on this channel, I provide answers to questions regarding finance, investment, other life issues or challenges. So today's video was particularly inspired by the two guests or two sets of guests that were interviewed on Premier Christian Radio this morning. And the couple were Nikki and Sila Lee, who are popularly known for their marriage course or program, and also a single lady that was interviewed. She talked about her blog on single friendly church. So I'm going to use some of the things they talk about to cover these four key areas that I've mentioned in the introduction. So, but at this point, I'm just going to say whether you're a Christian or not, these topics are going to be very relevant to you, and you can apply them in your own organizations or your faith group or circle of influence, or even in your family setting, be it your immediate family or your extended family setting. So these four areas, I'm going to discuss them simultaneously. I'll start with the money because money is a big issue right now because of the high cost of living in the UK and all over the world. This Valentine is a very peculiar one that people should try as much as possible not to break the bank. It's not really how much you spend that makes it a happy Valentine's Day for you as a single person or as a couple. So, if, for example, some of the tips I will give you, if you are a couple, maybe by now you have not planned anything. I know some people have already planned something, but even if you have not planned anything and you're seeing this my video, so please try to manage your expectations and rather think of other simple ways to make it a happy Valentine's Day. For example, they gave example of just running a bath and putting some whatever rose petals in it for your wife if that's what she likes, and even just cook her a meal or something. It could be a dinner if you obviously were rushed off for work this morning, you didn't cook breakfast. Just be present and spend that moment together. I particularly don't like going out on things like celebration, like Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. I just don't like the crowd and just the hype. And I don't like when I go out and the whole place is so busy. I would rather do it the Sunday before or the Sunday after. So if you are watching me today, you didn't manage to do something today, please still do something at the weekend to celebrate it, or just even trying to rush it and do it today might be too much. So do it any other day. It doesn't necessarily have to be Valentine's Day. Do it at the weekend. Yeah, so this applies to both couple and friends. If you have friends that are so far from you, please do a Zoom party and plan it for the weekend when all of you are likely to be available Friday night. So that's another way of celebrating things like Valentine. It doesn't, point I'm trying to stress today, it doesn't have to be on today because sometimes things are necessarily hype up and more expensive, and the crowd and everything might not even make it as enjoyable. But if you are the type who like to do it on the exact day, that's what rocks your boat. By all means, you can still go ahead and do that. If you have watched this video up to this point, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a like button and leave a comment in the comment section, and also please share for anybody that you think will benefit from it. Today, I really want to speak to our brothers and sisters, or husbands and wife, or those who are partners who are not from who are from African background, who grew up in a setting where Valentine, if you are about 50 and above, like maybe you grew up in families or with a family where parents didn't talk about Valentine. For me, I didn't know about Valentine until I went to the boarding school. So what I'm trying to say, like Nikki and Sarah and Sila today, we're talking about how they have to have a date night every week. That was what got them through their challenging times, because the presenter particularly asked them what got you through the challenging time. I know there are a lot of partners of husband and wives who are going through challenging time in their relationship. Even if not now, you might have gone through it. It might come up in the future. We are human beings. These things does happen. So is to please not compare, because some of your husband doesn't necessarily, it's not romantic like that in a way that you have to go out on Valentine or reinforce that there must be a date night. You can just start by having a prayer day together, because some of them you might even arrange a date night, and when they get there they just say, oh, I didn't know that make you happy, and they just present, just chatting and really feeling, oh, being there, that they have fulfilled the purpose. But it's actually being present and talking to each other might be more relevant. So in a nutshell, what am I trying to say? Look at your love languages, work on it by all means, but don't be too hard and fast and say it must be the way Nikki and Sarah Lee is doing it. It might not be culturally relevant to the person you are married to. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. Also, you, the single ones, the married ones, it doesn't necessarily mean it's rosier. By all means, pursue if that's what you want to do, having married married life or having a partner. Pray and work towards that, but know that try and enjoy your singlehood and be happy where you are, and find a way to look after that yourself and emotional well-being and your, because you need to be in a good place so that you can be a good partner to the person when the person finally come along. I know it can be a bit difficult and harder for our sisters in particular, men of course, but in a Christian setting we find majority of women are more like 40s, 50s, and their sisters who are still not married, because there tend to be more women in the churches than the men. So, but however, sisters, please, this lady today said so that even Paul, and there are other people, other men and women in the Bible who actually able to dedicate their life more to God's work because they were single. By all means, it doesn't, we are not imposing it on you that you have to bet, try and do everything you have to do, and bring in your circle of influence of the other mature sisters or brothers who are in the same boat as you, and trying to make each other, trying to do things that will improve your emotional well-being. Then, obviously, I've kind of covered the couple relationship there, but I'm now going to go on to what this lady said regarding being a single friendly church. She mentioned 5 key steps that she suggests to churches to employ, to explore 5 areas or tips, that steps that they should use to become more single friendly church. The 5 steps she mentioned are: who is single? Second is language. Then third is welcome. Fourth is teaching. And fifth is leadership. Under who is single, she said, who are the single people in your congregation? Consider different types of singleness and their different needs. Obviously, there are people who are single who have never married. There are those who are single through divorce. There are those who are single through widowhood. So you need to know the different types and their needs. Not everyone, it's not one size fits all. Number 2, she talked of language. She said, review the wording and images on your website and notice board. And also, what messages are you giving now? Consider how you use the word family. Family comes in different forms, shapes, and sizes. Then, welcome. Say, do you notice and welcome those arriving alone? So, is your service, is your social opportunity after service? Is there a social opportunity after the service? So, I'll put this on the screen so you can read it yourself. Yeah. And so, I don't want this video to be too long. Teaching. Do you have single people preaching? I know this might not be relatable to the traditional churches like the Catholic or the Anglican or Church of England, as they are called in the UK. Church of England churches where the pastor preach, or the African-led churches where it's the pastor's duty, or probably their wife, or whoever the guest employed to preach. But there are other type of churches that are community. I attended a church before that was community based kind of church where they have a leadership team. So it depends on who is better on the particular topic, who will teach that particular topic. Do you have any single person preaching? Choose themes and illustration relevant to single people as well as couples and families. That can be very relevant. It's very easy to include this different group of people, single people, couples, and families in when you are teaching. Doesn't necessarily, I know sometimes we can get carried away and focus. And we're not saying family is not important. families are important in churches, but there are ways you can be very inclusive. You can also be including other people. Yeah. Leadership, do you have single people in your leadership position? This is another thing. But even in the Catholic or traditional Anglican churches or Church of England churches, you also have like what you call the church council. So all of that, do you have some single people there? And if you teach service leading and small groups, like I already said, some of all these other community churches have small groups that who are leading those your small groups, okay, or leading the service, or even the welcome. There are other things you can do to the church. Even the traditional Catholic church, you have different group like St. Vincent de Paul, Legion of Mary, and charismatic groups. You have the Eucharistic ministers and the readers. So there are so many ways to include the single people, which I think they do try to do from my experience of being in those churches. So, in a nutshell, what am I going to say? In conclusion, this point I have raised here, I think it can still be included, you can still be relatable, transferable points or steps in your family gathering, especially. I just want to reiterate here, especially that in African sector, even all families, even in the UK, I can say that sometimes in family, we really have to be mindful not to overburden our single siblings, especially the women when it comes to caring for aged parents. So we have to. Also, I find that sometimes the single ones in our family setting, we only really notice them or we only value them for what they contribute financially to the family. Or when we need something, we just expect them to contribute more if it's burial ceremony or wedding. People just feel they don't have expenses or responsibilities. It's not like that. Also remember that they only have their own one single income coming in, whether they even have disposable income or not. Remember also they have to plan for their own old age. In as much as you say, oh, my children are your children, it's not the same. Your children can be that person's children. When in need, now you're raising them, they remember that. But the old age, these single people, single sister, single brother, please guard your emotions and your finance. Make sure you are making adequate preparation for your pension, retirement, so that you don't have to depend on people. You don't want to spend for family all your life, and when you get old, you are not dependent on them. I think that is kind of stupidity. In my book, I'm really sorry I'm using that such a strong word, but we really have to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. On that note, I would say thank you for listening or for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video.